Hello, my name is Danielle, and this is Zsasz. I want to talk a little bit about her enclosure and her setup today, but she's only 8 months old, so I am by no means an expert. If you have any advice for me, just let me know. She's in a 36 by 18 by 24 National Geographic tank. These tanks are usually like $250, but PetSmart had an amazing deal on this one after Black Friday. I guess they got overstocked and it was only $89. It's a little taller than you actually need, but like I said, it was a great deal, so I just adjusted things so that her temperatures are right. The cool thing about this tank is that it comes with a key, so it automatically locks for you. So if you have kids or pets or anything like that, like I do, you don't have to worry about them being able to get into the tank if you don't want them to. So you open the tank. Her background is actually a banner that I purchased from Walmart for $20 maybe. It was a 6 by 2 foot banner and it fit absolutely perfectly. I just had to cut it and trim up the sides a little and make it fit in each little panel. And then I used Mod Podge to stick it to the walls, and then I put a layer of matte Mod Podge on top of it so the lights wouldn't glare. In the end, I really liked how the background turned out. I wanted her to have like a mythical forest theme, even though I understand that she's a desert creature. I just wanted her to have a pretty tank. And she does sit in my living room. I know you can't see it, but this is my living room. Her tank is actually sitting on a desk. My husband's in the process of actually building her a tank stand, so we'll have that soon. Next, let's talk about the floor. Her floor is artificial turf that I got from Home Depot, which is much cheaper than reptile carpet. I don't know if you can see it, but there are 3 layers of turf here. And this part of her tank here, which is actually, there's tile underneath it, but we'll get to that. That's wrapped in turf. And I got all that, and I still have another leftover piece in my closet, and it was only like $8. The cool thing about turf is, number 1, you can just vacuum it out. And number 2, when it gets dirty, you can spray it with a water hose, and then you can just use a Reptile Disinfectant to scrub it out. I don't remember which one I use. I think it's called Flukers. I'll put a picture of it right here. Another cool thing about this turf is that it doesn't come off. So she actually digs in it, or she tries to dig, and the pieces don't come off. So you don't have to worry about them ingesting it. On top of the turf, I have a black floor mat that I got from the Dollar Tree, and I just cut it to fit into this, and then one of my other reptile tanks also has a piece of it in there. So as you can see, she kind of has like a stair system that leads to her basking rock, and I just did that along with the multiple layers of turf here just to elevate her basking rock up closer to the heat light because it was too far away and the temperatures were only 90 degrees. I also had to up her heat lamp to a 100-watt spot basking bulb so that her temperatures could get where they are. Her temperature on this rock here stays about 105 degrees, and I think she's actually supposed to have it to 110 degrees because of her age, but she will not bask on it if it's that high. She will sulk all day in her little bed here, and she will refuse to come out until it cools down. So 105 degrees seems to be a good temperature for her. As you can see, she's on this little piece of driftwood here. She's not even on her basking rock, and that's because the driftwood is a lot cooler than the basking rock. I have this digital thermometer, and really it's just for the humidity. I know that the basking spot stays at about 15 to 20 degrees higher than the temperature shows, but I also have a temp gun just to make sure that the temperature stays the same, because you can't really trust what the digital thermometer on the wall says when you're trying to get the exact temperature of the rock itself. Please, please, please never just solely rely on the digital thermometer to tell you what temperature it is, unless you're just trying to get the ambient temperature of a certain spot. So her basking rock also came from PetSmart. I don't remember if it was in the reptile section or the fish section, but she absolutely loves it. And she has a blanket on the inside, and believe it or not, she can actually fit in there. And that's where she sleeps most nights. That or on this piece of driftwood that she loves. This driftwood, I have no idea where it came from. It was from an old tank, so I just baked it to get any old parasites out. These plants were from Amazon. They were add-on items, so I think I only paid like $2 for each of them. And her flowers that she also loves were from Dollar Tree as well. So this tree with a face on it and the log are mostly there for decoration. She'll climb them occasionally. She uses the tree to get to her hammocks. They were from the fish section, I think, which is fine. You can use things from the fish section or the reptile section. It doesn't really matter. Honestly, I've found that things from the fish section actually hold up longer because they're made to be submerged in water and to withstand the water. So she has 2 hammocks. The top one came from Amazon. It's just a normal reptile hammock, except for I took the suction cups off because suction cups won't stick to the matte background, and I just stuck command hooks in them to keep them to the wall, and they worked fantastically so far. She hardly ever uses the top one. She basically only uses it when she goes to the bathroom because she tries to get away from her poop. But she uses this first one all the time. This one actually came from Etsy. Again, I have command hooks to hold it up. I find it important to note that this turf probably isn't the best if you're gonna feed like crickets in the tank, because even the superworms and the roaches that she eats try to burrow into the carpet, and I'm assuming it could harbor bacteria as well. But she only poops on the black carpet. So whenever she does that, I just clean it up, I wipe it down with a baby wipe, and I just throw it in the washing machine with the rest of the clothes, and it's clean. She was eating crickets on a normal basis, but honestly, they smell terrible and they chirp. I had a huge cricket bin to keep them in, but it smells gross. So now she's eating Dubia roaches and superworms. I find them so much cleaner and they don't make noise, which is awesome. I used to feed her crickets in here before I stopped feeding the crickets, and it is so much easier if you can buy a little plastic bin and put her in there. Make sure it's tall enough that crickets can't hop out. And then you can just pour the crickets in there, and then she'll go to town for 10 minutes on crickets, and you can stick her back in there. You don't have to worry about finding crickets or the crickets biting her when she's trying to sleep. Along with her protein, I like to keep a salad in her tank at all times, which I'll stick a picture of that right here. Usually it just consists of kale, some kind of greens, turnip greens, mustard greens, collard greens, even though she doesn't care for any of those very much. Chopped up carrots, which I buy the chip carrots, the dimmable carrots, and I chop them up into little squares, little bite-sized pieces. All of her food is shredded into bite-sized pieces. I also include something called dragon bites, which I think has something to do with prickly pears. I'm not sure, but you can sprinkle a few on top, and she loves them. And I also put butternut squash on the top, and that is her absolute favorite. Most of the time she'll just go pick the squash off the top and leave the rest. As you can see, she doesn't have a water bowl because she will not drink from a standing water source. Like I said, she's 8 months old and I've never seen her drink out of her bowl. Usually when she's thirsty, she'll come over to her salad and she'll just eat salad because I keep that sprayed down so she's getting water from it. If we look at the top of the tank, she has 2 bulbs. She has a 36-inch ReptiSun T5 high output 10.0 light. I don't know if I said all that right. And she has a 100-watt spot basking bulb. This is Zsasz. She's 8 months old and she's about 17 inches long. And this is a close-up of her enclosure. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a